On New Year's Eve, the restaurant's decorated hall shimmered with all the colors of the light and music, and cheerful Alina danced with Santa Claus himself. The girl was slightly drunk and very cheerful. She went to a corporate event for the first time. Previously, the guy whom Alina was going to marry did not allow her to do this. And just last New Year's holiday, he so unexpectedly and so insidiously broke up with Alina. The reason was quite simple. He met someone else. Alina fell into a terrible depression and the girl did not come out of it for almost a whole year. All her friends and work colleagues loudly insisted that she needed to start a new relationship. Find a new guy. But where can I get this guy? She wasn't going to go to this corporate party, but the girls from work dragged her. The girl's dress was not new. She had not done her hair, so she sat modestly at the edge of the table. And then the boss himself took on Alina. Seeing the despondency on the face of his subordinate, he diligently began to solder her. No one should be sad today. The man raised his finger up and meaningfully pushed another glass of cognac towards Alina. She was never fond of alcohol. It turns out that cognac was fun. All the blues disappeared somewhere and life seemed to sparkle with bright colors. Dancing among other girls from work, Alina surprised herself. In life, it turns out, there are other reasons for joy, and not just boring long-term relationships with the prospect of marriage. It is not clear whether Alina's fun made her more attractive, or whether she simply liked her. But for some reason the cheerful Santa Claus with young eyes chose her among all the girls and invited her to dance. And then, he didn't leave Alina's side all evening. His gray eyes sparkled so provocatively over his huge red nose, and a cheerful smile did not disappear from his lips over his lush beard, that Alina lost her head. After the dance, Santa Claus took Alina to the bar to treat her to a martini, and this was the last thing Alina remembered from that evening. She woke up in the morning in a room unfamiliar to her and was horrified at the sight of a red robe and a long beard hanging on a chair. This is a Santa Claus costume, and only then Alina realized that she was not lying on the bed alone. A thick head of brown hair is scattered across the pillow. The face is quite attractive, and the eyes, now closed, she already remembers from yesterday evening. It's vague, but he remembers, and some other fragments, like pieces of a mosaic, flashed through Alina's head. Here she is with Santa Claus riding in a taxi, and he, pulling back his beard, tries to kiss her, and she laughs. God, how she let herself down that on the very first evening they met she came to the apartment of an unfamiliar guy. This is what loneliness can lead to. I wonder if the girls from work know? Alina carefully, trying not to wake the guy, tried to get up, but then a warm hand wrapped around her shoulders. Where are you going? Are you planning to run away from me? The guy's handsome gray eyes were already open and looking at her with a slight squint. Igor, that's right. He's Igor. Alina remembered. Listen, what happened yesterday? She began hesitantly, but the guy immediately interrupted her. What happened yesterday was wonderful, and it is the beginning of something more beautiful. I don't understand. What's the beginning? Well, how? You and I decided that we would meet. Don't you remember anything at all? Well, just a little. Alina shrugged. Everything is clear with you. Igor chuckled. But this is not surprising if you haven't drunk much before. Yesterday you lost control of yourself, not knowing how insidious alcohol can be. But then, you told me everything about yourself. What exactly is that all? Absolutely. About your ex who left you, and how lonely you have been all this year. You won't be lonely anymore. Igor removed his hand from Alina's shoulder and very quickly jumped out of bed. He looked very fresh at the same time, as if he had not drunk the night before. Or maybe he didn't drink, thought Alina. He was at work. It was me who got drunk like a pig, and now I'll cook you breakfast, Igor declared authoritatively. But first you take an aspirin tablet. Alina was very unusual that someone cared about her so much. Walking into the small kitchen, where scrambled eggs and sausage were already being fried in a frying pan and the kettle was boiling, Alina was pleasantly surprised. Despite the headache, Alina suddenly began to like everything that was happening, and especially Igor himself. He was handsome, easy to talk to, and caring. Seeing that the girl entered the kitchen barefoot, the guy immediately brought her slippers, while devouring scrambled eggs. Igor talked nonstop. He was making plans for New Year's weekend. The most interesting thing is that these plans concerned the two of them. So, today we have a calm day. We'll spend it watching TV, but tomorrow we'll definitely go to the cinema and watch this sensational film. Wait, Alina interrupted. What do you mean today is a calm day? I live with my parents and I need to go home. Apparently you don't remember anything at all. Igor smiled. Yesterday you called your parents from the restaurant and said that you would go to your colleague's dacha for a few days. I told mine something similar. I don't understand. Which one is mine? Do you also live with your parents? Well, what did you think? I'm not married. I'm only 24. This apartment is not mine, but a friend's. He asked me to keep an eye on her while he and his wife were vacationing abroad. So for now she is at our disposal. Well, Alina, let's spend the holidays fun and usefully. Igor could not sit still. They went to cinemas, ice palaces, and even to the theater. She had fun. It's true, it was easy and good with Igor, and somehow it even seemed natural that immediately after meeting they practically lived together, even in someone else's apartment. Alina and Igor did not part for several days. If someone had told a girl this a week ago, she wouldn't have believed it. But only the holidays were over. Alina had to return to her parents. On the very first day she began to miss Igor. I missed communicating with him, spending days and nights together. Although, apparently, Igor was serious. He called Alina constantly, and they saw each other almost every day. Only now these meetings took place on the street, because Igor's friends returned from a trip, and there was no more vacant apartment. After a month of dating, Igor invited Alina to meet his parents. These turned out to be quite friendly people and they treated the girl well. After that, she had no choice but to introduce Igor to her parents. Alina was a little shocked by such a rapid development of their relationship. Igor stated that he intends to marry her. Alina's mother beamed. She really liked Igor. I want to live with Alina. Aline, how do you think about you and I renting an apartment and living together before the wedding? I don't mind. The girl beamed. We need to look at suitable options. And I'll do this right tomorrow. Igor rubbed his palms. The next day he met Alina from work, happy as a March cat. Let's go. He grabbed the girl's hand. I found a great option for you and me. There is only one bus stop. We can reach it on foot in a few minutes. Look. There are only a couple of steps from your work. In addition, there are some repairs, and the owners will leave the furniture to us, and not very expensive. Having crossed the threshold of the apartment Igor had found, Alina thought that the guy had clearly gotten excited about renovations and furniture. The faded wallpaper, yellowed bathtub, and worn linoleum did not arouse the girl's delight, and the furniture is Soviet style. Some grandmother obviously lived here. Everything is so ancient, and why do you think that 20,000 a month for this apartment is not enough? In my opinion, this is overpriced. Alan, stop it. The guy turned her towards him and looked into her eyes. I don't want to search anymore. I like it here. The main thing is that you and I are together. Let's stay here. Igor kissed Alina, and she agreed that they would pay in half for this apartment. The newlyweds moved into rented housing. The owners of the apartment did not come to them. She never even saw them. Igor delivered the money for the apartment to them personally, having previously taken half the amount from Alina. After about a week of living together, Igor looked sadly at the rolls that Alina ordered for his arrival. Listen, Alan, this, of course, is all delicious and healthy, but don't you think that we could live somehow more economically and save for our own housing? Yes. Yes, Alina nodded. She was generally pleased to discuss a joint future with Igor, and the fact that he was already thinking about buying a joint home was great. So, I was thinking, the guy continued, let's put aside and save my entire salary, and we'll try to live on yours. What is there to live on there? Alina was surprised. After all, I pay part of the amount for the apartment. Alina, well, you are already my most beautiful. I love you in any jacket, and even more without anything. The guy tickled her gently, and Alina laughed. Okay, okay. Save, save. She laughed. The girl's life flowed in a mode of strict economy. When she received her salary, she immediately gave Igor her share of the rent, and then together they outlined all the most necessary purchases. Of course, it was mostly food. She didn't even see Igor's salary. The guy immediately put it aside for his own account. This was starting to bother Alina a little. Sometimes the girl was frankly hungry, but once again she could not afford a donut during her lunch break, because Igor did not approve of unexpected expenses. But Alina still felt good with him. 6 months passed like this. For some reason, despite loud statements, Igor was in no hurry to submit an application to the registry office, saying that it would not hurt to save up for an apartment first. But the guy didn't talk about how much they had already managed to save. Let this be a surprise for you, he declared. It was a surprise for Alina, and what a surprise! The girl was simply shocked when one evening collectors came to her and Igor's apartment. Igor was not at home at that moment. For a long time Alina could not understand what these two men wanted from her. Igor Lavrentiev has not paid his loan for several months. He will finish the game and we will take his apartment away from him. What other apartment? I don't understand anything, Alina muttered. My Igor doesn't have an apartment. What are you going to take there? Girl, this very apartment belongs to Igor Lavrentiev, and he has a debt to the bank. It's better to let him pay. So tell him. The visitors left. Alina was in a stupor. What did they say there? Does this apartment belong to Igor? This cannot be. A few minutes later Igor came running, flushed and cheerful, with a loaf of bread in his hands. Alina wanted to tell him about the collectors, but something stopped her, and she decided to act differently. The next morning, the girl called at work and said that she would be late, and she went to see Igor's parents. Only the guy's mother was at home. She was delighted with Alina's visit. Well, how do you live there? How are you doing, Alina? Tell me, please. But whose is the apartment we live in now? Well, what about whose? Igor. Of course. He got it from his grandmother on his dad's side. It's been 4 years since he took over the inheritance. Tenants used to live there, and when Igor met you, he sent them out. That's how it is. Alina lowered her eyes. She lowered them because she wanted to cry. The girl felt like a complete fool. Collectors came to us yesterday. She decided not to hide anything from Igor's mother. They said that he was in arrears on some loan, about which I know nothing. What are you talking about? Really again? The woman clasped her hands. Igor is back to his old ways. He's playing again. My father and I thought he had recovered from his addiction. Alina left Igor's parents' house as if drunk. Everything that the so-called groom told her turned out to be a lie. He took money from her for his own apartment. In addition, he had been living on her salary for more than 6 months. If we take into account that Igor also took out loans, it becomes clear that he does not have any saved money. He also lost his salary. How comfortable he made himself. Alina didn't go to work. She went to pack her things and move out from Igor, realizing that a protracted depression awaited her again. Thank you for watching. Give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and you will be the first listeners of the next new story.